Borderlands, based off the video game. I've never played a single Borderlands game. Have any of you?
Yes.
No.
Okay, Joey, what is Borderlands about?
Well, you know, you just take Fallout and make it cartoony, and you pretty much got it right there. That's
okay. Well, I liked Fallout earlier this year.
Yeah,
and I like cartoony stuff like like the Twisted Metal show, which we reviewed.
Fantastic.
So I didn't know much about Borderlands at all. I know that guy in the weird hockey mask is on the cover of one of them.
Yep.
And I know Eli Roth directed this, or at least some of it. He did not direct the reshoots because he was doing Thanksgiving at that point. Yeah, this one's been sitting for a while, by the way. Since like 2021. I think it like finished filming in 2021. And it's just been sitting this whole time. Yeah, I heard that it was absolutely terrible. It was the worst thing in the world. And I put it on the other day. I'm like, all right, well, let me check for myself. And I mean, for the first half, I was like, all right, this is okay. Except for Jack Black, which it was a bad time to have Jack Black and stuff.
Yeah, it was.
They couldn't have picked. The worst thing you could have done in August is release a movie with Jack Black.
We waited 3 years to release this movie.
That waited 3 years.
Oh.
The second worst thing you could do in August is release a review for a Jack Black movie that you shot in April. Those are the two worst things you could have done.
That's very true.
But I was like thinking it was okay, a little bit cringe, but it was like fine for the most part in the beginning, like the first half. This girl was annoying. I know she's like the big Hollywood girl right now, but her character was very, very annoying. Is that accurate to the game, Joey?
Yeah, I would say so.
Okay, so there were things that I thought were weird or annoying, but I'm like, maybe this is on brand for the game. Kate Blanchett.
This casting made no sense.
Yeah, I didn't. It felt. I don't even know the character at all, but it felt like wrong. And I get that she's like dressed up like the girl and everything, but like the hair never changing once. It was just bizarre. I'm like, all right, I feel like it feels like Kate Blanchett's like cosplaying at a convention.
She's also
that's exactly what it feels like. Yeah.
Not to be ageist, but she's being like angsty. Like she meets her mom's old friend and she's like, you abandoned me. Like, I feel like by this age, angst is supposed to either be dealt with, you accept it and you move on, or it turns into grittiness and you become like a grizzled old action hero. But instead it just comes off as like we cast the wrong person. Yeah.
And to her credit, she's like trying. So basically, the story is like there are a bunch of aliens that rule the universe. They left a vault with their technology on a planet called Pandora. No, not that Pandora, the other Pandora. And now people go and hunt to find the vault. And now there's like a little girl who has alien DNA who can open the vault. And Kate Blanchett's got to get her back to her dad, but then gets in a vault hunting mission with all these wacky characters. And I'm like, okay, this is something. I'm getting it. And then like at the end, like the effects and everything in the beginning were like fine. And then toward the end, it got like really bad. It got like super cartoony, super cliche. And then I don't know, she's like a fucking Firebird. She's flying around shooting CGI. And I'm like, what the fuck happened in this movie? Like, I don't know what's going on. Yeah, and it kind of fell apart at the end. Joey, what did you think of this film?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a pretty casual fan of Borderlands, but I was totally expecting more, which I don't know why. I should have fucking known better. And I felt like it was filled with like a lot of talented names, but this whole movie just feels like one big like miscast. With an exception of Jack Black, even though I liked Jack Black in the 2000s, I haven't liked anything he's done past 2010. He fit in all right. Kevin Hart as Roland, though, feels so fucking weird. Like it doesn't feel like heroic at all.
I don't know anything about the character of Roland. It's just his performance just didn't do it for me.
No,
there's a lot of that, like, you know, when people make fun of the MCU and do the whole like, well, that just happened, like that cringe dialogue. Like this movie's doing it like legitimately,
exactly.
Like not even like a parody of that.
Yeah,
it felt bizarre.
It's so fucking weird.
It really, they're saying things that would have been funny maybe like 10, 15 years ago, and I'm like, now it's just cringe.
And the jokes, they don't fit the character personalities at all. Like Kevin Hart, he fights a bunch of these guys, and afterwards he goes, "That was the worst orgy ever." I don't even. What like I could picture like Deadpool saying that, and you would buy it. You're like, he probably was aroused during that fight. But with Kevin Hart, like nothing happened. That's the only line like of that genre that his character says in the movie.
That's a good point, actually.
Yeah, and I there's all these different factions that I never really understood who the bad guy was. He owned an evil company and was cloning alien people, and he teamed up with a bunch of soldiers in like red armor, and one of them was Janina Gavankar, and then they teamed up with the Psychos. Is that what they're called? The hockey ass guys?
Yep.
But the Psycho with them is not a psych. He's like a former Psycho, but he still acts like one. Gil, how this movie land for you?
It was really, this movie was so confusing to me because especially in the day and age when we learned you don't have to release movies just because you made them. Yeah. I was like, I don't know why they released this, because it even feels like, it feels weird to even review it because I don't think anybody likes this movie. It feels like even the people who made it, you can feel their admission in the movie. They know. Like there's one scene where it's supposed to be this emotional moment where Kevin Hart's character is like, I'm going to stay behind. You guys keep going. And Tina doesn't want him to go. And I'm like, they have done nothing to make us care that he's staying behind. I barely even see Kevin Hart interact with Tina. So why she's so upset that he's staying behind. And the movie plays this sad, emotional music, but it's really quiet in the background and it's only there for a few seconds. Like they're saying, all right, throw the music in there because we have to, but we know you don't really care. We'll move on to the next thing. I mean, it's everything that people have said about it. No character work whatsoever. We have no reason to care what's in that vault, like the big MacGuffin of the movie. If you compare this to the thing everybody compares it to, Guardians of the Galaxy, in that movie, it was the same thing. Everybody's after that Infinity Stone. But every character, the villain, and then each of the good guys have their own reason for going after that. So it sets them all on the same path for different reasons, and they all come together. Here, if you pick Kevin Hart or pick any of the other characters, you're like, I can't really remember why they care about the vault or what they're trying to do. Yeah. And the bad guys have almost no presence in this movie at all. They show up at the way end with like 20 minutes left.
Yeah, there really is no like, there's like people trying to stop them, but they never feel like bad guys except for that one bad guy.
Right. And as soon as he shows up, she basically becomes invincible. Yeah. And so there's never any sense of danger in the movie. And if there was even a chance at that, it dissipates the moment they actually show up.
Yeah, and then he's got like that weird like henchman in like the black armor who I think they show him in the very beginning and then he shows up at the end. I'm like, was he like a guy we were supposed to remember?
Oh,
like,
yeah, I know. Yeah.
I'm like,
he only shows up like twice.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, it's that guy. And I think he gets into a fight with the Psycho dude. I'm like, I still don't understand why the Psycho dude is even there. I don't like what sets him apart from all the other ones. Other than
there's that one lady in red who says to Kevin Hart, she's like, "You were right. I never should have been on the bad guy's side." And then she immediately gets vaporized. Yeah, and I was like, "What? All right, whatever. It doesn't matter."
Yeah, I filmed a video with her.
Yeah, exactly.
I actually filmed a video with that actress a long time ago. Did any of you guys ever watch The League?
No.
I saw like bits and pieces of it.
Well, she was the girl that they were all obsessed with, Sheena Kamini. Oh my God, I forget the full name now. But they used to say her whole entire name, and then we call it Shiva blasting. And she was at a convention, and I filmed myself doing an in-person Shiva blasting. And she thought it was like the funniest thing, because she was on record being like, I thought this was going to be a thing, but no one ever does it. I'm like, okay, this is my chance. I'm going to be the one guy who does it. But you're right. She has that moment with him, and I'm like, I don't even remember them talking earlier.
Yeah, like I remembered seeing her, but when she was like, you were right. Like, I don't even remember what he was right about. And I started to scrub back through the movie, and I was like, why am I even researching this?
Yeah,
I don't even find that moment.
I didn't even care to look.
Also, the mystery with Kate Blanchett was real obvious. As soon as she lands, Claptrap, the robot, is like, as soon as you land, I came back to life for no reason. And then it's all like, is the little girl the alien? It's like, no, it's Kate Blanchett. And you're just like waiting for it to happen. And then she grows wings and you're like, whatever, fuck you. It's not the worst thing ever. People were saying it was like the worst thing ever. It's not even the worst video game thing I've ever seen.
No.
Yeah. But on the wings thing though, by the way, they say that when you go and stand on the vault, you'll be consumed by it. And they say, well, it's not necessarily going to be a bad thing. It doesn't mean it'll destroy you. Yeah. But consumed is not a word that you can interpret as like, oh, I see. That meant you'll get wings. It's not like consumed as like a double meaning. Like,
and yeah, her hair doesn't change the entire time. Yeah, so Borderlands, I don't recommend it. It seems like if you like the game, it will be even worse for you. It's got a fun, decent-looking first act. I'll give it that. But yeah, it kind of falls apart and loses interest. And points for Cate Blanchett being a great actress and trying and giving it her all. Jamie Lee Curtis was phoning it in as Wacky Girl.
Yep.
But yeah, don't see it.